Scott looked over at his corner like, what am I supposed to do?
Well, if the bottom man is getting to his feet and you're doing nothing to try to bring him down or to try to turn him, just hanging, a referee could make the judgment that you are not trying to return him to the mat, you are stalling.
Now right here, if the official is consistent, he'll have to warn Scott again.
Well, he threw the other boot in, and that helped bring him back down to the mat. And those are the kinds of subtleties in this sport.
They go to the third period, meanwhile, between Slaton and Gomez. And this time it'll be Slaton starting on the bottom. Riding time not a factor in that match. Only 20 seconds of riding time for Joe Slaton.
If he does get called for stalling, it'd be just like an escape right here for Kennedy.
So you can see Scott looking like he's doing something, right? Just moving his arm.
Trying to rip the arms forward, stretch him out, bring him back down to his belly. That was enough.
Enough to get, what, a stalemate rather
than a stall call. When he was warned, he wasn't doing anything. He was just on top, holding position.
Quick escape by Slaton, meanwhile.
Notch the score, only 14 seconds of riding time, so that's a non-factor.
Caution on Coleman Scott on the top. He's arguing that it wasn't him. John Smith's coming over to the official, arguing the same thing. To no avail. Oh, and he's been warned. The corner has been warned for questioning the judgment of the official. An official warning on John Smith.
There's a lot of warnings going on here.
Gomez in on a shot.
There you, John Smith, greatest wrestler of all time, 6 world champions, 2 Olympic golds. Now, here is what I don't understand. What's he done different than he did a minute ago when he got called for the warning there?
Right.
And he was able to just do the whole thing and only get away for a warning. So advantage Scott.
Big time. Now he goes into the third period with 2 minutes of riding time. So Scott will go on the mat first. He'll start on the bottom. And if he can escape, guys, with the riding time and everything else, he's going to have a big advantage. And the pressure really is going to be on Jimmy Kennedy.
Well, speaking of pressure, we're down. They've split Slaton and Gomez. It's 1-1. There's 40 seconds left in the regulation. And there's no riding time.
That match will come down to who can take the other man down with overtime looming.
You don't want to take a bad shot here. You don't need to force anything because you have sudden victory, which is another minute on your feet to try and work a takedown.
Shot there by Slaton. Gomez spreads out and doesn't allow him to grab both legs.
The warning now against Scott ties the match up. Kennedy just let Scott up to go after him, and he did, and the official warned him, and so now it's 1-1 on that match.
But riding time in favor of Green there.
That's right.
1:59, so Scott's still in the driver's seat. But I would try to stay in the middle. I wouldn't want to bring that referee back into the picture.
Sudden victory for the rubber match between Slaton and Gomez, who split this year in their matches.
Here's how overtime works, folks. If you're new to wrestling, the first period is a 1-minute sudden victory period, and there it is! Joe Slaton for Iowa.
And another warning against Scott. Iowa started out not the way they want to at 25, but they got back in the game, didn't they?
And you had to wonder about Iowa. They had a great quarters in the Big Ten. They had 8 semifinalists and lost 6. And did they learn from that experience? It appears so. Slaton able to come back and win.
So now we'll focus in on Coleman Scott and James Kennedy, and they're out of play here with 20 seconds remaining.
It's effectively tied up. The 2 points against Coleman Scott has been stalling points, and Kennedy gave him his escape, but the riding time, as Jeff pointed out, is Scott's.
There's that blast double, and Scott will score.
Yes, and that's going to be a big score, enough to win it unless Kennedy can scoot out in the last 5 seconds. And it's not going to be able to because Scott's got the ankle.
And even with that, remember the riding time will factor in, and Coleman Scott goes to the finals with a 4-2 win.
Kennedy was pushing him around, 2 stall points, and when they returned to the center, the quick shot off the whistle, that blast double, Coleman Scott comes out victorious.
So 2 of the most decorated programs